Average Dude has something to say about...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is episode 17 of the Average Dude Show, and this is an episode that is basically going to be a story. I'm going to tell you a story about a certain household in the neighborhood of the world. It's called the USA household, the United States household. Now, this family decided to create a household that had to move from one area to another in order to establish a home. And they were first-time home buyers, but they were having trouble getting their mortgage for their home. You see, they rented for a while, leased, and the landlords were being complete dicks. The people that supposedly, and they didn't even own the property. They just simply robo-signed paperwork, kind of like the banks do today when they want to fudge the fact that they supposedly are the first lien holders of a property that's actually been paid off. Yeah, that kind of thing happened way back in the day too, with this USA household. And the landlord in question that pulled this crap was a family called the England family, or Great Britain. You see, they were being turds. And they were constantly taking money and jacking up the rent and wanting more and more. And the American household had enough. And with help, they were able to get their own FHA, first-time home buyer loan, and they got their own household. And it was a happy household. It required a lot of work. It was a fixer-upper, but they did what they could. And they tried to have kids. They wanted to have kids. See, the household, the parents, the people, tried to have children in their own image. And, well, none of the kids quite turned out to be in their image. They were very selfish. Kids tend to be this way. But they competed so fiercely to the point of siblicide, which is the act of siblings killing each other so that the strong survive and the weak ones are absolutely crushed and the parents just absolutely do nothing. Federalist was the first child of the USA household, and Federalist did not last long. He was the first one, 1790s to about 1816 to 1820, and then, well, he was killed off by his siblings. And you know what? The siblings, there have been so many siblings and they have dropped off one after another. The Whig Party, that was another sibling that was completely killed off. To the point where there were two strong, very dominant alpha dog opposing side siblings. The Republican Party and the Democratic Party. One of them was one parent's favorite child and the other one was the other parent's favorite child. And any other siblings never really got very strong. They were starved and left completely powerless or just flat out died out by these two because they were absolutely spoiled beyond belief, out of control. These two pitted each other against each other all the time. They were constant. They were even manipulating the parents, the people, against each other, 50-50. One parent and the other parent clashing over their favored children. They really weren't good children. They were horrible children. They were spoiled, rotten. And they got everything that they wanted. And for a while, the one would be given goodies and extra presents during the holidays and this and that. And then after a while, the parents would decide, you know what, we're going to favor the other one. And it would go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You can see that in the presidencies and Congress and, you know, the chores. Because these kids were supposed to do chores and they failed miserably. They manipulated the other siblings to do most of the chores and then they killed off and completely screwed over those siblings. And took these two, the Republican Party child and the Democratic Party child, constantly took credit for what they didn't do right. And then they always pointed the finger at someone else for the things that they did wrong. And they continued to do this. Well, they were showered with gifts. The Republican Party was given Well, they were given major tax breaks for their rich friends who they were constantly hobnobbing with in the neighborhood. Wanted to give them goodies so that they could have goodies. And Democratic Party, no, they had another set of friends in the neighborhood. Minorities, celebrities, women, the whole 9 yards. But you know what? They pulled this, and the Democratic Party child did the same thing. And the Democratic Party child would constantly whine and complain. Every now and then, Democratic child would get goodies. And this is where all the entitlement programs, all the social welfare programs that were completely inflated and not even run very well. They were great ideas, but they weren't run very well. Republican Party supposedly was given the task of the household's defense, but Republican Party was constantly selling the weapons. The household tools in order to keep things well maintained. Selling them to the enemies. The neighbors. And Democratic Party, instead of actually doling out the funds for assistance to the neighbors that needed it, was constantly giving it to the neighbors that manipulated the system. So that fell apart, and all these two did was point the fingers at each other and constantly demanded more and more and more from the parents, from the people, from the USA household. And it got so bad. The parents stopped going to the doctors, checking on their own health. They couldn't afford health care. They couldn't afford health care for themselves. They couldn't afford health care for the other siblings because they weren't the favored ones. But these two, Republican and Democrat, always got the health care. Always were taken care of. Always given enough food. The parents and the other siblings were starving, while these two ridiculous brats were constantly getting fat off of all the great and wonderful food. All the bills were just jacking up. This household is so screwed up because you know what's happening right now? All the assets the USA household had more expenses than income. So they had to borrow money from the neighbors, which was a stupid idea because that made them indebted to the neighbors. And these children didn't stop. They kept demanding more. And the parents kept giving them more. Well, the health of the siblings that are left they're damn near starved. They're almost dead. The parents are almost dead. They're starved to the point of falling over. They have not seen a doctor in quite a while. They can't handle it, and they're just hanging on by a thread. And thanks to the shenanigans of their kids, the jobs are gone. So there's really not much for them to do in the neighborhood, and they're having a hard time holding on to their home. And meanwhile, Republican Party and Democratic Party want more goodies. They want iPhones, they want this, they want that. They want extra service. They want extra wars. Ooh, did I say that? Oh, of course I didn't say that. And they were bullying the parents. You will give us this. And they were constantly pointing the finger at the other. No, Democratic Party, you're getting less and I'm getting more. And then Democrat child would go, no, Republican, you're getting less and I'm getting more. No. Kick. And these parents tried their very best. But this house is falling apart. They can't afford the repairs. And they thought that they would be able to deal with install everything. Their health, food, everything. They thought that they could be on payment plans for all the utilities, credit cards, loans, everything. And it didn't work. They never got those repairs done. The household... The country, the household is crumbling. And they can't afford the payments. They cannot afford to repair what has broken. And this house is so far gone. They have exhausted all the possibilities with this FHA loan. They had 2 partial claims, which totaled 12 months. That's as far as partial claims go for when they fell behind on their mortgages the first few times. They got a loan modification, and then they had that, and then they were left with a repayment plan that was ridiculous. And they even tried to, you know what? Bankruptcy didn't quite work out in the courts because the rest of the neighborhood didn't feel like them welching on their debt, said, no way, you are going to pay us, and well, the USA household is screwed. Ladies and gentlemen, that household is us. And these 2 political parties are our kids, our creation. We are responsible for them. And we let it get this bad. We're the responsible ones, the parents. The USA household has a sheriff's sale auction date of tomorrow. Okay? This is not a pleasant story, and you want to know why? Because it's real. Because we still, as parents, have tunnel vision where the one parent thinks that the Republican child is the better one. He's a piece of crap. He's a fat, ridiculous piece of selfish crap. And Democrat child is no better. They're both horrible. And as parents, we need to beat their asses. It is time to spank, paddle, and clobber their little fat asses. It is time to put them to work for the household, for them to really do their chores and to earn an allowance, not be given all these freebies. I don't know of anyone who's truly happy with how this country is. And for those who are in the neighborhood, you know, other countries in the world, this is how we are. The people are frustrated. But it's this favoritism, tunnel vision nonsense that is screwing us. It is time to spank their butts. These children deserve it. Everybody, have a good weekend.